All right, we are here with Bill McGlone, number 33 in your program, number one in your heart. Bill, how are we doing?
Good, man. Good. Everything's going well. Just staying quarantined, trying to keep busy. Just doing everything possible. So, how's everything going with you?
It's good. It's good. This is our second Zoom together of the day. We did a little Tigers XXVI training today, which I got to say, the digital backyard clinics have been something that I really look forward to every week. And I've been very, very pleasantly surprised by the amount of improvement we've been seeing with the kids, which for me has been rewarding. And like I said, it's like something to strive for every week. And it's great to just connect with 60 players today, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, those kids are pretty darn good too. So it's fun to work with guys who want to get better and taking advantage of these times. Obviously quarantine's not something you, I, or any of us could have ever predicted. But when there's great chaos, there's great opportunity, and not only is Trilogy taking advantage of it and creating opportunity out of it, but a lot of these Tigers players are doing the same. So it's always great to kind of get out there, work with these guys, and provide some instruction and give them that same opportunity.
Yeah, you've got a big change in your location of where you're broadcasting from. You got this is from your own personally owned home now, right?
Yeah, yeah. Bought my own house down right outside of the Philadelphia area. Made that move not too long ago, and it's been nice still putting some things together. As you can see by the bare walls behind me, there's a lot still to be added to the walls. But yeah, it's been a really nice move.
Where are we right now? Is this the basement? Is this the
This is the
office? What do you
basement.
got?
So one of the main purchases and main reasons we got this house is because of this basement. It's really big. It's my man cave. So we got really nice couches, and just need to get some updated carpet, and then I'll start putting some things on the wall and make it personalized man cave.
I was just said we're gonna have some 33 jerseys hanging up behind you soon, right?
Yeah,
We
yeah.
just we just redid our office slash guest room, and I was pretty excited to have that as my new backdrop for the Children's Cross Theater. But of course, my 3-year-old is screaming in the background, so I'm gonna
Yeah, I was gonna say,
be
where is it?
downstairs in the living room right now.
Just seeing all those nice family pictures.
Exactly, you get the whole Belial Applebaum family experience behind me. Um, nice. Well, let's dive right in here. We got some video from 2005 to work through, but I guess before we dive in, or actually we'll start the video. How'd you end up at Maryland? Obviously, you went to Ridley, and for big, for I think most people know you're a very talented basketball player. Did you have dreams of going to play college basketball, or how did that end up?
Yeah, it's a good question. And to be honest, yeah, I was more, I wouldn't say more interested, but I was equally as interested in playing hoops in college. And I did get some looks there. And, it's funny when I tell people the stories nowadays compared to or to people nowadays, because what I went through is so different than what a lot of people are going through. Especially a few years ago, I didn't commit to Maryland till January of my senior year, which is pretty late, even in those ties. But Maryland just really spoke to me. That it came down between Maryland and Penn State, and Penn State was kind of like the homer place to go to. A lot of buddies and knew a lot of people in the area, and what it essentially was the deciding factor was Maryland was. As you can see in this video, they're playing at Final Fours. They were playing for national championships, and that's primarily what I wanted to go to college for, besides obviously academics. But athletically, I wanted to compete at the highest level and compete for national championships. And, I felt I had the best opportunity to do that at Maryland.
And so when you were looking at basketball schools, what kind of like what level, what tier basketball?
Uh, D3, there was a few D1 schools in there, and most notably probably Temple. Temple was one that, I really wanted to explore, or I did explore. But it really, it was kind of like, hey, go be, ride the bench playing hoops, or go be, starting, have much more probability of being successful in lacrosse. So I knew I'd have more opportunity in lacrosse. So it wasn't a hard decision, but it was something that I thought about.
This game right here. So So this is 2005. So they showed a graphic of Aaron Denton, it's clearly Aaron Fenton is a goalie. Let's see
Yeah.
here. Aaron Denton. It was Aaron Fenton. I remember this because this was 2005. So they had just beat us in the quarterfinals at Princeton Stadium, and then they played you guys. This is the semifinal, Final Four, right? And this is in Baltimore, or is this in Philly?
This is in Philly.
Awesome. So this must have been cool for you. What 2005 was your
Junior
sophomore
year.
year? Junior.
That was my junior year.
And had you already been to the Final Four?
Yeah. So I was at the Final Four 3 out of the 4 years I played at Maryland. We went to the Final Four my freshman year. We played Virginia, got beat pretty handedly against Virginia that year. Went this year, and then my senior year we played against UMass. And ironically, our best team was probably my sophomore year. And you guys had your first ever TLT, Trilogy Lacrosse Theater, with RB, where you showcased that game where he single-handedly, beat us. Basically scored the last 2 goals and then assisted the goal in the overtime, which, was the first time of actually me watching that game since playing in it and being in it. So that wasn't fun to watch. But, that was probably our best team my sophomore year, and that's the one year we didn't make it to the Final Four.
So this is your junior year. So sophomore year, you guys had that down year, hadn't really experienced it. Who's 24, by the way?
That's Steve Wittenberg.
Wittenberg, that's right.
Yeah, I don't know if you remember that name.
Yep, for sure. And Maryland always known for the defense. We had another Terp on, Brian Farrell. So who were some of the studs on this team, this junior year team?
Defensively, we had a young defense this year. We had Harry Alford in cage, who was a sophomore at the time. You had Joe Sinowski, Steve Wittenberg. Who else was back there? Charlie Wiggins I think he was a sophomore at the time.
Is this Xander Ritz with the ball right now?
Yeah, this is
wow.
And Max got burned. Max was probably, he must have been a freshman.
There's 33 here getting the ball.
Yeah, here he is.
Right hand. What are you doing with it over there?
I had a better right than left.
Ooh, that's a nice little rollback. Yeah,
I try to teach kids that all the time. That was one of my favorites, just a quick little rollback to a quick shot low, worm burner. Pretty much if you don't hit the goalie and you get it on cage, it's most likely a goal. I've always found that to be a very good move or a good way to get a shot off.
Nice slide there. I think you smoked that first.
Yeah.
Fenton was on fire this playoffs. He killed us in the quarterfinals, and then he had a bunch of saves in this game, right?
Yeah. I mean, you can see by the scoreboard there, they had a pretty good lead on us here, but we had some good shots. We were getting shots off. I don't think we were getting a lot of them on cage, but he also played lights out. We ran into the same thing my freshman year against Tillman Johnson, who I think I was talking to you about it last night. I mean, he played one of the best games I've ever seen ever in a lacrosse game. I think he had like 18 saves, 18 saves in a field lacrosse game, which is absolutely ridiculous. And if you saw some of his saves were like on the doorstep, Brian Hunt, like 3 fakes, up, down low, up low, and he still comes out with a save. It was pretty crazy.
That's Joe Walters right there, number 1.
Yeah, that's J Dubs.
So it looked like Duke was in a zone. Were they zone all game, or did they just drop into this?
They dropped into that. They started off in man, and they stayed in man for the most part, but then they switched to zone. They were in and out of zone throughout the game. So, Pressler and, the Duke defensive coach, they did a good job of game planning. And
77 was Nick O'Hare, right there, Pole.
Yep.
He was really good.
Yeah, they had a good defense, and obviously they had a great offense with Greer and Danowski and Zash. Kyle Dowd, I think, is the one who just threw the ball. He had a great rocket shot. So they had a lot of great players. And
this is by far 2005. This is by far the battle for 2 of the ugliest helmets in NCAA history between the Gade hockey helmet and the Brian Triumph. This or was it Triad?
I don't know. It was Brian. Was it Rydell, or it was a Brian helmet?
They were Brian, yeah.
But Maryland had the Gate helmet for 4 years, and I was lucky enough to be there for those 4 years.
Were they comfortable at least?
No, not really. I mean, not. I can't. I mean, obviously, Cascade. You just Cascade is the helmet. That's Charlie Wiggins there. But yeah, Cascade is like the only helmet you can wear in lacrosse, in my opinion. And yeah, I think Cottle had something going on with the gates, and
So
they
so
signed a contract.
so who's this attack? It's Joe Walters, it's Sander Ritz, and who's the third? The third
Brother Max.
Max Ritz, okay, as well.
Max Rich, yeah.
And then the midfield, first midfield is you. Who's 34? Was 34 midi?
34 was Brendan Healy. So Brendan had like one of the most pure overhand shots that you'll ever see. I mean, it was, carbon copy every time, directly overhand. I mean, it was a beauty. And to be honest with you, the third on the line kind of fluctuated. I know Schwartzman played a lot on our third line. He was actually the one. I know they talk about it throughout this game. The game before this is the infamous stick gate, as they called it, where I scored a goal and they did a stick check on me, and they found out it was illegal by turning it upside down, and we got the goal taken off the board, and they end up scoring and tying it, and then Schwarty bailed us out and scored in overtime to take us to this game.
How relieved were you to? I think I think I'm going to turn the volume up because I think they talk about it during this goal. They talk about how you were praying for someone to score after that.
Yeah.
Goal from the Philly area. Benton's got 12 saves, Quint. He had 12 in the first 2 rounds each. McGlone finally beats Aaron Fenton's second goal of the day.
I think they talk about it.
McGlone involved in Stickgate last week with the emotion, the pressure of hoping his teammate Andrew Schwartzman would keep the Terp season alive. Well, that happened, and now he's got 2 today.
McGlone got off to a great start the first 3 or 4 games this year. Had a little shoulder injury, but he was just an amazing high school basketball player at Ridley. And here you see the inside roll done so well. Comes up, does a 360, couple stick fakes, falls in the back of the net. His talent is endless. Really bright future in the sport of lacrosse, his freelance ability.
And
funny, bright future in the sport of lacrosse. He knew he's a skier. He saw into the future.
Funny story about the stick gate, the illegal stick. And I know I told this to Inside Lacrosse. I wrote weapons choice. There was an article about weapons choice, and then something that you wanted to tell people that they didn't know. And the thing about the stick gate, when my stick was illegal, that was actually Walter's stick. My stick broke that week of the quarterfinals, and I was trying to play with it, but the plastic broke. It wasn't like a string issue, and when the plastic breaks, catching the ball is much more difficult. And I got to the point I was like, I can't play with this, and I asked Joe, because Joe was really good with sticks, and I was like, yeah, can you hook me up with a stick? And he's like, here, you can use this stick. And he's like, just be careful, if you get it checked, you might have to punch the sides out a little bit. So I took it and I used it, and it was a really good stick, and I didn't think anything of it. And when I scored that goal, they were like, hey, stick check. I think they had a last ditch effort, like, hey, we're pretty much out of the game. Might as well just give it a shot. And they did a stick check on me. I was like, yeah, sure. Here's my stick. And when they turned it over and the ball came out, I was just like, are you kidding me? That's yeah. So it wasn't the best time of my life. I'll tell you.
Hey, end result was good. So here you guys are down 11-3, ride the ball back. Was this had you been inverting, or did you call for an invert? What happened here? Walk us through this play.
Yeah, so I was coming on the field, and I knew they had a shorty on me, so I went to go get the ball. So the ball was behind.
You were getting pulled most of the game.
I got pulled the whole game, and most teams I played against, I was drawing the pole. And as soon as I saw that I had a shorty on me, I just sprinted directly to the ball just to get it. And then I was gonna invert, but I just let my momentum carry me, and I drove up that right hand side, and I just did a quick little inside roll, and then finished. There wasn't anything that we were like setting up or anything. I was just, like I said, I had the shorty. I was going to get the ball, and then I just ran with it.
You almost had like a double pick there, like the old picket fence as you came around. It wasn't even like real picks, but you kind of had like two that slowed him down, right? And then you tried to catch up and you got that inside step on him.
Yeah, Max, obviously being a freshman, he knew like if I got a shorty, I was taking it. So once he passed it to me, he kind of cleared out, and that kind of like set that pick. And I just drove up that side, and he kind of overplayed it. I did a quick little inside roll, and then just gave it a pump or two and finished.
Yeah, this is a couple good fakes. I mean, he just keeps running. No one slides. You see it sometimes. Well, what's this little behind the back switch? Is that how you punch your pocket to get that thing wider? Make sure.
That's just natural instinct. There was no thought behind that. It was just, I think the guy was in front of me, so I just flipped it behind my back to keep the stick moving.
Were you using Monster Mesh?
Yeah.
How long did you use Monster Mesh for?
I hate to admit this, but I've never been a big stick guy. I was always a believer that it's the magician, not the wand. And I played with soft mesh, hard mesh, monster mesh, traditional. Even my sophomore year, I played with a little bit. And I didn't really put too much thought or emphasis in the sticks. And that monster mesh is actually something I played with for quite some time. I think I had that my junior year, and then it broke, the week of the quarterfinal. And instead of just doing a transplant, Joey gave me that other stick. And
who was that? Lomedy?
Yeah, I think that was Lomedy.
Oh, their defense was just so big and athletic, and it has been for 15 years looking back.
Yeah, they were some big boys and athletic and aggressive, which is like fine. We had some aggressive guys too, but we were just inexperienced. Is that Lomedy? No, that's not Lomedy. I think that's Brett Thompson, who was actually a D midi.
Yeah, I was gonna say 24. If he's clearing the bat there.
Yeah, that was Brett Thompson.
So you guys brought it back a little bit, but never really were able to close the gap, huh?
No, anytime we even like put strung a goal or two together, they kind of answered, which was really frustrating.
Yeah, so freshman year, Final Four, lose somewhat big, right?
Yeah.
Sophomore year, don't make the Final Four for the first time in a while. Junior year, get to the Final Four, and then have this showing versus Duke, and then so then senior year, what's that season like? Walk us through senior year at Maryland.
Yeah, senior year we had a really good year. Obviously, a really good team, returning most of our defense because they were really young from the year prior. They just had guns. That's Kyle Dowd. They just had guys who could just shoot the lights out, from 10 and out. Which is really tough to defend. But yeah, senior year, obviously really good team. We had a lot of returning players. My junior class at the time, we had a lot of guys that were impactful. Actually, I think my junior year, we only had 2 seniors that were getting like real good time. Maybe 3 or 4 seniors that actually got on the field. So we had a lot of promise returning to 2006. And, we had a really good year. I think we were ranked number 1 for a period of time. I think we went into the tournament ranked number 2 or 3. I think we might have been number 1 going into the tournament. And, and then we got into the Final Four, and we had UMass. UMass went on this crazy run against Hofstra. Hofstra had them beat, and UMass came, I think they had a 5 or 6 goal run on them towards the end of the game.
It was one of the most wild. I think they were down. I think it was 12-8 with 3 minutes left or 4 minutes left, and they came back and won. That was Danowski. I think that was Danowski's final year at Hofstra, I want to say, or if not final, then he'd moved over to Duke pretty soon after that.
Yeah. I remember watching that game on the bus, and it was crazy the way that game ended. And
so they had worked us in the first round. That was
UMass did?
Yeah. So UMass came to Cornell. I think we must have. It was I think we were 8 and they were 9. It was something where we just barely had a home game, and we because we had won the Ivy League, but we had a decent, not great season. And it was good. I mean, I think we won the Ivy League outright at that point, or maybe split it. But yeah, they came in and we did not play great, and they waxed us. And then
And that was a home game for you guys?
it was a home game at Sholkoff, yeah. And then so we lost there, and that was it for us. And then they went and like you said, had that crazy game against Hofstra, and then beat you guys, and then went to the national championship.
Yeah, they went on a run that year. I won't say we looked past them, but I think we were a little overconfident going into that game because on paper we're like we got these guys. You know, this is a game that we should win. And and that game, so we had four of us in the senior class. It was me, Walters, Brendan Healy, Xander Ritz, and between the four of us, I think we had a total of 1 assist between the four of us, who were like averaging. If you averaged our four of us together as point totals per game, it was maybe 7-8 points per game came from the four of us total. So we just
they had Jack Reed, they had a lockdown D, they had Sean Morris on that team. They were a good squad.
Yeah, they were good.
So here's from that senior season. This is against UVA, early season game.
No, this is ACC.
Oh yeah, because that's a big arena. Is that Navy?
This is M&T Bank. This is Baltimore Stadium.
Yeah, there's a Ravens logo right there.
Yeah. So this was the ACC final. No, it was the ACC final. My
1,
my
2, 3, 4, 5 guys. 5 guys. Goalie. Who's the goalie in there? Is that Kip? Kip was not happy with the defensive effort there.
Yeah, I think the commentator says something about it like they just played bad defense. I mean, they were just that's why you tell kids don't go swinging for the sticks. You got to take the body.
Yeah, that Virginia defense. I was like, was that Ken Clausen was still there? They would take some chances on D.
Yeah, I think Ken was still there. He had to be because he was younger than me. So yeah, he was still there. And then he had some injuries that kind of stunted his career. But he was a phenomenal defender too.
This kid. There's one kid that like straight up misses the hit like NFL or Madden like hit truck stick and just whiffs.
Yeah.
Where is it? Let's see if we can isolate it. This guy goes for the big hit, leaves one arm on his stick, and just complete whiff central. And
I can't.
That's like something you see out of a movie about lacrosse, where it's not like real; it's like choreographed.
Yeah,
amazing. This one right here, just the big hit stick whiff. Absorb a nice little check there too.
Yeah, at that point you're just avoiding hits, and then you're trying to get as close to the cage without getting hit as possible.
Oh, here you go. Here's this. Okay, so here we go. We got it right here. We can watch it. We talked about it. I mean, this isn't about you, but
yeah,
we should still watch this.
Absolutely, it was an insane game.
10-5 with 8 minutes left. Down by 5 goals with 8 minutes. Down by 4 goals with 7.5 for Sean Morris.
Yeah, Morris just had a run and a half that tournament.
That was an outside bomb.
Yeah, I remember watching this on the bus, and we were like, "This ain't happening. Like they're not gonna win." And then like it just they kept scoring, and obviously
just hauling from the outside, and then OT.
Yeah, at that point when the momentum's, when you crawl back 5 goals in 8 minutes, like if you don't win the game, there's something wrong.
That's wild. So you have this awesome career. Were you forward? Three-time All-American, right?
3-time All-American, yeah.
And obviously, didn't get the ultimate prize there, which, for Maryland players was really no one did until recently.
Yeah, I know. A lot of people get surprised by that, but I think it was 75 to 2017. So it was at 25, 35, like 42 years, something like that.
Yeah, it's wild. But was the MLL and playing professionally something that was on your radar? Had you given thought to it? Is that something you wanted to do? What was that? Where did that live in your brain when you were coming out of school?
Not until my senior year, probably. Because the MLL was just starting up. I think their inaugural season was 2002, 2001.
Yeah, I think 01 sounds right. 2000 or 2001. I think
it was 01. So it wasn't as known. I mean, it was obviously known, but it wasn't as big as it is nowadays. And when you're in college, that's the mecca of the sport. That's what you're laser focused on, getting that trophy and trying to win a national championship. And you really don't think much beyond that. Obviously, senior year, you're making plans for your future. Like, what am I going to do, and this and that. And like, that was definitely on my radar and something that I aspired to do. But again, laser focused, just staying, keeping it one game at a time, trying to be the best I can be and try to get that national championship.
And so what was the process like for the MLL? Because it was different back then, where you would go right from college, like right into the pro season. You've missed like half the season if you've made it to the Final Four. So how did that work? You got drafted?
Yeah. So I think, if I remember correctly, we had the Final Four on Saturday. National championship game was on Monday. That Tuesday, we had the draft. So it didn't really dip into the season like it did in later years. So we had the draft on that Tuesday. We had a combine, and we actually played a game.
They did the combine and game thing for you guys, because we did that at Stony Brook in 2007. They did that in 2006 as well.
Yeah.
Where'd you guys do that?
Was it Stony Brook? No. I want to say like Rhode Island. It was somewhere up north, like north upstate New York.
Okay.
I can't even remember exactly where it was. And then you have the draft, and that's on a Tuesday. Or I'm sorry, Tuesday was like the combine and everything. Wednesday was the draft, and then that Friday you're flying to wherever you're. Like my first game was in Denver, so I was on a plane on Friday, and then that Saturday one Saturday I'm playing in the Final Four. The next Saturday I'm playing at Mile High Stadium.
It's pretty cool. And who'd you get drafted by? Were you by the Dragons, San Francisco?
No, it was the Bayhawks.
Bayhawks, okay.
Yeah.
Your first game was Bayhawks versus Denver. What was that experience like? Because I talk about this with everyone from our era. It's like it was a different game. Like, college had horns. Like, now they play so fast, they have a shot clock. It's so similar. But back then, it was like a full-on, like, I remember playing in that combine. Man, this is way better.
Yeah, it was like, oh man, I feel so much looser and able to kind of do what I've always wanted to do. Where the college game felt so controlled and very strategic. The outdoor MLL game was more like freelance, like just go. And I remember, luckily, I was drafted to the Bayhawks, and Mike Mollett was on that team, and I played with him. He was a senior when I was a freshman at Maryland, and I remember just asking him, like, hey, what do I do here? Like, do I go or not? He's like, dude, just go. Just keep going. Just keep going to the cage. Keep shooting. There's no Cottle here to tell you that you can't be doing certain things. He's like, just go. And so the first game, I was a little hesitant because you're so trained, it's so entrenched in you to be controlled and not do certain things. But, it only took about a game and a half, and then, off to the races, just playing.
Before we get into the video, I got to ask you, because you brought something up that I was curious about, and we talked to Farrell, and we've talked to a couple other Doc, and we talked to some other men. Like, what was your relationship with Cottle like?
I had a good relationship with Cottle. Obviously, it helped that I was a contributor on the team. I was a 2-year captain. I became captain my junior year, so he put, he gave me a lot of responsibility, which was it was good for my personal development. And I had a good relationship with him. It was somebody that I would go into his into his office and have conversations with him, and be able to kind of talk to him man to man. It wasn't as much as a coach-player relationship. So that my relationship with him was really, really good. Yeah,
and talking to Kip Turner, Kip cites him as one of the more influential people in his lacrosse career, and that's
so smart, X's and O's. He just knows, strategically, like what to do. What people are doing before you can even like see them do whatever they're going to do. He can tell you what's going to happen. He's just really, really smart in that way.
Yeah. So you get to the Bayhawks, and then you go on, and total career was it 9? Did you play 9 seasons? 10 seasons?
I think 9.
9 seasons.
9, yeah.
Here's a little best of. And so how many? Let's walk through the career. How many total teams you play on?
Oh God. I usually tell people name one.
Count the jerseys.
And I'll it's funny. I recently got married, and all my groomsmen and the bridesmaid, they came out in all my jerseys. So two per, group that were coming out were all in one of my jerseys because I had
That's
so many.
awesome.
But yeah, so I ended up playing Baltimore for 2 years, and then San Fran, which was a great team. One of my better experiences. And, you were out there in LA, so you know what it was like to play out there on the West Coast. And they folded. So then I got picked up by Chicago.
The Chicago here's a little Chicago baby blue Belial versus McGlone matchup right here.
Was that me? Is that you with the short stick?
That's me with the short stick. There's Jack Reed, I think, with
Yeah.
the slide. And then you roll back and take both of us for a nice feed to the backside to Chaz Woodson.
I had a really good rapport with Chaz.
Chaz is great. I played with Chaz in LA.
Yeah, we only played 1 year together, but me and him had a lot of good connections. And then we had obviously the Lavells there, Kevin and Mike, which was, awesome to have those two guys on the team.
So after Chicago, was it Denver?
After Chicago, went Denver. Denver, and then from Denver, I went to Boston.
And that was the final stop, and we got to play together for a few years. What year was Boston?
2011.
11, okay. Yeah, so was that the championship year?
No. What?
Yeah, 2011 is when we won the championship. So was it the year after or the year before?
It must have been the year after, because I'm going to say, yeah, it must have been the year after 2012.
Got it. What was your favorite spot to play?
Probably, to be honest with you, probably Denver.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, the crowds out there. You're playing at Mile High Stadium. It's just seemed more professional. It was a lot of fun to play out there, and the organization treated you really good. They treated you, with class, and I just really enjoyed the locker room and everything. And obviously, and now we had a good team. We lost in not the finals, the playoff game before the finals. But yeah, we had a really good team.
Also known as the semifinals.
Yes.
Awesome. And then the NLL. So it's so funny. I kind of almost think of you as a Chicago guy based on the Chicago Machine, the Chicago Shamrocks.
Yeah.
Did you live in Chicago? What were you doing professionally at the beginning of your career? I don't know if I knew, like right out of school, were you working a corporate job?
No, I started doing my own camps. We had
Moore, right?
Yeah, Moore. We started our own Relentless Camps business that we started, and then obviously I was playing for Baltimore, and when I got picked up by Chicago in the indoor league, I didn't live out there the first year, but the second year I moved out there. One, because my experiences out there, just playing out there, were amazing. It's like, you're young. Why, this is the time to do it. So I ended up moving out there with one of my best friends from high school who played at Notre Dame, Matt Ryan, who's actually still out there now. And yeah, we lived at Lincoln Park, which was right there, and kind of main part of the city.
I lived in West Montana, next to the gin mill. Do you remember that? West Montana, and I think
Diversey, I know.
Yeah, it was West Montana. West Montana was like a little side street, but Lincoln Park was awesome.
Yeah, you're up there right next to – we were up like right down the street from DePaul.
Yeah, we were right there. We were probably a street or two away. That's funny. So how did you even get into NLL? What was the process like? Did you guys do the combine and draft as well? Because we did that the following year in Denver. Yeah,
so I had a little bit of experience playing in the Bill, the Baltimore Indoor Lacrosse League, right at that. God, I'm forgetting the name of that arena, but it's well known. A lot of people play in it, and that was my first taste of indoor, and basically
Burns Arena.
Yes, there you go. So that was my first taste of indoor, and I know they started having these combines, and I went to the combine and played in that. And, I really liked the game. I thought I was tougher than I really was. I remember going to training camp for Chicago, and and everybody's getting suited up. They're putting these arm guards on. They're putting these ribbers on. And I'm like, these guys are weak. I was like, I don't need all that stuff. So I go out there literally with my outdoor equipment on, these little elbows about this big, no shoulders, no nothing. And they looked at me like, dude, what are you doing? Like, are you serious? And I'm like, dude, I'm fine. I'm okay. Within the first 5 minutes, I was like peeing blood. I was, few shots to the kidneys, and I was like, hey, I'll take those pads. I talked to our GM, Phil Ryan. I was like, yeah, I'll take those pads. You can give them to me. They pretty much knocked me out in the first 5 minutes.
But you made the roster. So without ever really having – I mean, you played in the Baltimore League, but you made the roster in your first try with the Chicago team?
Yeah, so I didn't – I went in there completely blind, and I didn't know – what to expect, and basically I was just going to do play the game as best to the best of my ability, and wherever the chips fall, they fall. And so each training camp I was trying to gauge where I was on the depth chart, and it's really hard to tell. And at that point I made the team, so that was my first thing. And then once you make the team, it's like, am I going to make the active roster? Am I going to dress? So then I dressed, and then this is my first game. That was those first two shots were my first game, and I ended up having 3 goals, and I think I was named player of the game.
Was that the Shamrock's first game ever? Because the crowd it's packed in there.
Yeah, it was the Shamrock's first game ever, and
a lot of tickets were handed out.
And this was the game that I think you had RB talking about, or maybe Casey. It was either Casey or RB you guys were talking about it, and it kind of sparked me to kind of go back and do some research. We beat them, I think, 15-11 or something that game, and the crowd was going nuts. They loved it. It was our home opener, season opener, home opener.
Quick feet and agility. Who made this video, by the way? Because it's like looks straight out of 1972.
Oh my god!
Late 90s looking, even though it's mid 2000s.
Yeah, it was our video guy. The Rock was his name, and he made this. God, I guess it was my second year. He made this of my rookie year, and he put it on YouTube, and he let me know. And obviously it's. It's kind of goofy with some of the sayings on it, but I will just say, God rest his soul, he ended up passing away like a few years later due to some health complications. But yeah, he was awesome. He was awesome. Everybody loved him.
By the way, this goal should not have counted. I've watched this several times. Not that one. That's beautiful.
The dive-in one?
This one behind the net, you definitely touch in the crease, and then you can't be the first one to touch the ball. Right here, like foot in the crease, and then you touch the ball. Can't do that.
I think whoever was playing against me might have touched it, and then I scooped it up.
Okay, all right, fine.
Well, I'll take that, because I can't tell you how many goals that got called off that were illegal, and they called illegal, and they didn't have the challenge flag back then.
That's right. They didn't have the instant replay.
Yeah, and I remember I scored the first goal in Madison Square Garden. They called it off, and they showed the replay, and it was obviously legit.
So dunks like this, right? You have a couple of really sweet dunks. There's one from against the Boston Blazers. I don't know if it's on here, but I think it was when you're on the wings where you switch hands.
Yeah.
How do you practice that dunk? Like, did you practice that? And because obviously you didn't grow up playing box, so like, did you practice this in practice, or how do you do a dunk like that?
Yeah. So to be honest with you, I didn't really physically practice it much, but mentally I did. So that's why I'm always big when I tell players about visualization. Like, I never really did a lot of these type of goals. I never really did in practice or just like messing around on the goal, as much as I just replayed them in my head or played them out in my head. And, when they happen in game situations, that's usually the first time it's manifested itself in the reality. But yeah, I just kind of run through it in my head over and over again. And then when those opportunities arise, I just kind of act naturally, and it's really acting off of instinct because I've done it so much, mentally.
That's awesome. By the way, couple things here of note. Like here, when you score, after you score, I think it's Troy Bonterre comes up and gives you a shot. I love how you're just, yeah, no, I'm okay. Troy Bonterre is like one of the scariest human beings on the face of the earth.
And I don't know if you ever did this, but do you know how much crap I got for wearing a 4-pointer?
Oh yeah. So what happened here? Who is that? Is that Eric Martin?
I think it is
He goes down. Something happened here where he fell kind of awkwardly on his arm, but
Yeah, like I don't claim that I like manhandled him or anything. I think I just was playing the ball and I knocked him out of the way and whatever. I don't know what happened to him exactly. I think he eventually got up. It wasn't like something where
yeah, it
the
looked like his
trainer
arm or
came out.
shoulder maybe popped out. I know he had
Yeah.
some shoulder problems. But the then the last part of this is these uniforms coming up. The old school Minnesota Swarm unis were so awesome with this like silver and the light blue or the like royal blue. I loved it.
Yeah. Yeah, they were nice.
Greeny, so it's hard to see them. But
You don't like their Shamrock jerseys?
Shamrock jerseys were cool too, but that was Minnesota Swarm that you're playing against, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and playing in that arena was really cool too. I think it was the Excel Center.
Excel, yeah, they did a
Yeah.
really nice job. Quick
Freaking
feet.
cold out there, but it was really nice. It was really cool to play in that arena. This is against the Rock.
Yeah.
Again, another ACC. That's another great arena to play in. And obviously, I ended up playing there for a year. I was the second American to ever play for Toronto. It was Kevin Finneran and then me.
Wow.
And then now obviously, I have Shribes.
Yeah, and McCardle was there for a while before.
Yeah.
Yeah. Riptide.
That goal, I have no idea where that guy was going.
He disappeared. We always tell kids, like, when you run past a guy, he doesn't disappear. When you ran past that guy, he literally disappeared off the screen.
I didn't do anything. I just like turned around and he I don't know where he went.
He's no longer. Is that Paul Rabel actually?
It might have been. Yeah, he only played a year or two in the league.
I think it might have been Rabel looking at the long hair. That's the old stealth.
So, funny story about this goal. Literally, probably 5 minutes before that, you know how backhanders are very common in box lacrosse. Well, we were not playing well, and guys were throwing backhanders and just not connecting on any of them. Well, our coach Jamie Batley called us in after like a timeout, and he just starts ripping into us, and he says, very aggressively, if the next person that throws a backhander, I'm pulling you off, I'm embarrassing you in front of the whole stands, and then you have to walk to the locker room. You're going to take your equipment off on the bench, and then you're going to have to walk to the locker room. The next guy who throws a backhander. 5 minutes later, I catch this on a breakout, and I'm not thinking that way. I'm not like trying to be rebellious against what his wishes were. I just act instinctually, and when I shot that and scored, like everybody on the bench, everybody was looking at me like, "Are you freaking kidding me, dude? Do you really have the balls to do that?" And even Jamie Batley looked at me like, "You're freaking lucky that went in. Like, you're really lucky that went in, or I would have totally embarrassed you."
Well, that's one of those things where you catch it and you think in your head, like in the back of your head, you're like thinking, but obviously not because you still threw it.
Yeah,
right?
It was just a natural reaction instinct.
Oh man, well that's awesome. Well, favorite part of the NLL, if you had to boil it down into like one best thing.
I'd probably say this about any team, so I don't want to say the locker rooms are always a favorite. But if you're going to, like I said, I would say that for any, level of play that I've participated in. So to kind of make it specific to the NLL would definitely be the crowds, the arena, playing in front of in an arena, all that energy and noise gets trapped by the dome. Where you play in, you played in, national championship games. That's unbelievable visually, like seeing all those people there but when you're in the arena playing box lacrosse, you feel that energy. Playing in front of 10,000 at little inky dink Sears Center is more energy. You feel more energy from that than you would in front of like 45,000 playing in a stadium. So that's something that's definitely unique to it.
Yeah, we got the music going for sure. Crank it up. Awesome. Well, let's get in the speed round here and talk about some of the best ofs. So, best teammate you've ever had.
Best teammate. That's a good question. Kevin Lavelle.
Caleb Bell's a very good teammate. I'll
Well,
agree with
he's a
that.
magician. He's a magician with his hands. He's an awesome dude. I would have to say him or Jesse Schwartzman.
Jesse Schwartzman.
Yeah.
You play with him just on the
Denver. In
Outlaws?
Denver. Yeah. So I
Yeah.
played with Kevin for 3 years, I believe. I played with Jesse for only a year. But, like I said, that Denver locker room was amazing. I really enjoyed all the people there. And another one that now I think about is Brian Langtree. Langtree is an absolute nut, but he's a great guy.
Yeah, one of those guys you hate playing against, love playing with, right?
Yeah, he's amazing.
Who would you count as the most influential person on your lacrosse career?
Cottle. I mean, it's funny. You get coached by this guy for 4 years, and you make your jokes, what he says, and amongst your teammates, and then you go out and you start coaching, and then you're like, oh my God, I am a carbon copy of Cottle. I am exactly like him. I'm saying the same damn things, dodge opposite this, and don't throw it into the middle. And you're like, God, and it's the things I used to hate to hear as a player, and now I am screaming at my players to do the same thing. So he's definitely had a huge influence on me.
All right, you're a Ridley guy. What is the best thing about Philadelphia?
Ridley. Best thing about Philly, I think it's just being blue collar. I think it's just the mentality of not being better than, but nobody being better than you, if that makes sense. So you don't have a cocky arrogance, but you have a confidence behind you. And I think just that mentality and that attitude can, take you to high levels.
All right, everyone knows about the cheesesteak. What's a hidden gem, either food or location in Philadelphia?
I mean, I could say Denix in Reading Street Market. That is the roast pork there with broccoli rabe is something that many people rave about, and I can hop on that bandwagon. It's one of the best. And Herschel's brisket, the Herschel's brisket, which is in that Reading Street Terminal Market, is pretty darn good.
All right, so downtown is where you got to
Oh,
head.
wait, I got one. Pisano's on 2nd and Girard. That's always my go-to Philly hidden gem.
Okay.
And get the Pisano sandwich. It's like beef brisket. It's a fried egg. It's got this like horseradish sauce on it. It's amazing. They've won like, who knows what this actually means, but like best in Philly sandwich like 5 years in a row. And this is back in 2011 when I was living there. So that's definitely a hidden gem that I would encourage people to check out.
This Trilogy Lacrosse Theater brought to you by Pisano. Most embarrassing lacrosse story.
I mean, the stick gate is obviously something that's pretty well known. So yeah, that's probably the most embarrassing.
You got something else?
I won't say it would be embarrassing, but when we were playing for our state championship game in high school, it got called off due to a thunderstorm that never came. So something I did to kind of lighten the mood, I practice in just my jockstrap.
Out on the field?
Yeah, for practice.
Nice.
Just to kind of lighten the mood.
Did you guys win that state championship?
We did.
There you go. Worth it. Number one best place to play lacrosse?
Philly.
Have a specific location?
Wells Fargo.
Okay. Got it. Okay, so Philly NLL Wings. Got it.
Yeah.
Least favorite opponent to play against?
Reggie Thorpe. I think he broke my arm. Mike Evans literally broke my arm once, but Reggie Thorpe was he's a guy out there that I would actually look for and try to avoid. I wouldn't do that against really many other people, but definitely I kept an eye out for him.
Well, now I'm Riptide. I know. I remember he's gonna be. He's gonna definitely, his teammates or his players are gonna be fired up to hear that they're got a true killer leading the way.
A true savage.
Yeah. Always end it with this. Like, if you had to pick one top memory from lacrosse, what's your A1 best memory of lacrosse?
Probably winning a state championship in high school. That or winning gold for the U19 team. for USA. Obviously representing Team USA on the front of the jersey. I played with you on USA for the indoor game, 2010 World Games indoor. But obviously we walked away with the bronze, and not that we were really expected to win gold, but in field lacrosse playing, for the U19s and representing the country on the front of the jersey, and taking care of business, and really being able to play with so many guys that you knew you were going to be competing against for the next 3-4 years, and just kind of being able to build that camaraderie and that friendship was pretty awesome, and something that I would definitely never exchange anything for.
Who else was on that U19 team with you?
You had Dino, you had Dixon, obviously Moyer, who was a high school teammate of mine, Zash, Joe Belucas, Cornell boy.
It's Joey B, yeah.
Yeah, he ended up getting a concussion, so he didn't. I don't know if he played at all, because I think he got a concussion before the games even started. But he was still out there with us. He's the man.
That's a Long Island heavy roster that you just listed off right there.
Yeah. I mean, Dixon's Spalding, but majority of those other guys were all Long Island guys.
Yeah.
That was a great team. And trying to think who else was on there. I mean, there was tons of guys on there.
You guys won the gold, right?
Yeah, Peter Lamedy, he was on there. He was amazing. He was one of the best high school players I think I've ever seen.
He was amazing. Yeah, he was great for Duke.
I remember playing against him in 205, and I was like, "Who is this guy? He's amazing."
Yeah, just had do it all. That was back two-way, do it all midfielder.
Yeah. He was a stud.
Well, Bill, I appreciate you hopping on here. It's always fun keeping it within the Trilogy family and looking back on some.
It's about time. 18 episodes it took.
I was trying to get you all the way to episode 33, but you did not open the door. So I've tried to. Every time I do it, I'm like, man, this is like too off from this guy's number. But we had to get you in before 33. So.
Yeah, that would have. I've been okay with that. If that was.
So 18 is just the worst spot ever.
Yeah. No, it's fine. I'm kidding.
Well, it's not. It's actually alphabetical order. So McGlone, it's kind of middle of the pack. Man, well, I can't say how much I've enjoyed getting to coach with you and play with you, and now get to work with you. So we're looking forward to getting back on the field whenever we're safely able to do so. Hope to get an opportunity to work with a lot of kids with you this summer, and appreciate you doing this, because this is a lot of fun.
All right, back at you, man. I appreciate everything, and obviously got to rep Trilogy. It is the best company in the lacrosse industry, in my opinion. So it's an honor to be a part of it, and I appreciate everything.
Awesome. Well, thanks, Bill, and have a great night.
All right. Thanks, Mitch.
Later.